the 7th of October, we face extermination, killing, bombing falling over our heads. All of this of front of the world. They lie to the world that they kill the parties, but they kill the people of Gaza, their dreams and their future. Kids of Gaza run out of death once and once. We come to Al-Shifa hospital to keep us from bombing. We suddenly run out of death more after bombing the hospital. The occupation is starving us. We don't find water, food, and we drink from the unusable water. We come now to shout and invite you to protect us. We want to live, we want peace, we want to judge the killers of children. We want medicine, food and education. And we want to live as the other children live.
That was a video from November 7th, almost a month ago. A month exactly after Hamas attacked Israel. And that was the voice of a young Palestinian boy standing, giving a statement in front of about a dozen other Palestinian children. And it's difficult for me to talk about this because I'm confident some of them are dead now. I'm confident that some of the children that I just watched in that video are dead. I saw a video last year, and maybe I can find it for you, of a young girl. And I think it was 2 years ago, because Israel does this, and Hamas, they do this about every 2 years in the recent years. Actually, every year, if you really count the small skirmishes. But there was a young Palestinian girl who looked at the rubble around her.
I'm always sick. I don't know. I can't do anything. See all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything this morning. I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? We're just kids. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair. Not fair.
And she lamented, and she was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm only 10 years old. How do I deal with all of this around me? And what's so horrifying and what haunts me right now is the fact that I don't know if that young girl is dead. There's a possibility, there's a good chance she is. About 3 years ago, I interviewed a student from Palestine. This was 3 years ago, and in the background of that interview, you could hear Israeli bombs dropping.
Like, there is literally not a place I can go to and feel safe there. I'm in my house and I'm ready to be bombed at any second, like literally any second in the house. Like, our good days are miserable, but now it's much worse. So now we're just, we don't have, as I said, like, we don't have any bomb shelters in the strip. So we only seek safety in our houses because that's the safest we can think of. We know we can't leave our houses because that's risky, but that doesn't mean that staying in our house makes it any less risky. Yeah, bombings are happening. Like, we really don't know where they're going. Like, it's all indiscriminate. They can, like, hit our house any second.
And as bad as it was 3 years ago, it is so bad now that I'm not even sure if that student is alive anymore. We're talking about children, and the despair goes beyond death, which seems like a wild thing to say. But when you think about those who are alive and have nothing, I mean, really, they have no medical care because Israel is bombing hospitals. They have no food because Israel has bombed groceries. They have no ability to get education right now because, well, even the higher education institutions have been leveled. And as far as international aid, while great efforts are being made to get some there's a block. There is no sufficient aid for the type of disaster and calamity that is being brought down on Gaza. Yet we have Israel's ambassador to the UK, Zipai Hotovli, saying that, well, yeah, there are camps there. There's protection there. There's shelter there, right? Trying to put a gentle face on their barbarity. But the reporters from Sky News, as I'll play this clip, will make it clear that these claims that there are shelters, that there are tents, that there are encampments for Gazans to go to, they don't exist.
There is a river. There is a place in Gaza called the Muasi. The Muasi is the place where they all can have shelters. Together with international organizations, we created shelters for the Palestinian people. So you cannot say Israel is not, facilitating that. Together with humanitarian aid.
This is where she's talking about. A desolate wasteland of sand dunes next to the Mediterranean Sea. There is no aid in Al-Mawazi. There are no aid agency tents. There are no food kitchens. There is no help here.
There is no help here. That is the reality of what the people of Palestine are facing. That's the reality of what children in Palestine are facing right now, because there's quite a few children. The population is 50% children. That means that there are hundreds of thousands of children who are out there navigating this genocide by themselves. And people want to listen, nobody can tell you better how difficult 2024 is going to be, how critical it's going to be. In fact, up until what happened on October 7th, I was preparing myself and my platform to do everything I possibly could to make sure that those fascists, either in the form of Donald Trump or theocratic fascists in the form of Ron DeSantis, to ensure that neither one of them get power, because this is the inflection point for the United States of America. If 2024 goes the wrong way, we most certainly will lose our democracy, full stop. So I don't want you to think the words that I am sharing are not contextualized for the severity of the moment. But you cannot ask me to be concerned about the severity of 2024 when you are not concerned about what's happening to these 10,000 children who are estimated to have been killed, 6,600 confirmed, and thousands more underneath the rubble. I know exactly how important 2024 is, which is why I am doubly furious. I am furious simply because of the morality, or the lack thereof, the inhumanity of the United States to co-sign on this barbarity, this genocide, so late in the game, almost when the United States had an opportunity to position itself in a morally strong position, particularly as it pertains to Ukraine and Russia. The United States, not even on purpose, the United States just happened to be on the right side and had the opportunity to use their military industrial complex for something good, which was to protect the sovereignty of Ukraine from the imperialist aggression of Vladimir Putin. The United States of America was on the right side there. And lo and behold, before we could even get to 2024, which is all the Democrats seem to be worried about, and I get it, they decided to co-sign genocide and expect us to look away and say, oh, it's bad, but 2024, you can't not vote in 2024. And I'm sorry that I have to keep contextualizing this conversation in context of the upcoming election, but every person, media figure, political consultant, commentator, all of them are really saying, are you really going to abandon the Democratic Party because of what's happening in Gaza right now? And then I have to slow and pause and say, no, it's not that I want to abandon the Democratic Party because of what's happening in Gaza right now. It's the fact that what's happening in Gaza right now is really all that matters when 6,600 children are dead, and the nerve of you to ask me to contextualize my feelings based on an election in a year? That disparity of humanity. Show me what you're talking about today. Show me what is your greatest concern today, and you will show me your priorities. And if your priorities are not to stop the slaughter of these children right in our faces, right there, that's the thing. If you have an ounce of morality in your body, of humanity in your body, even if you are grossly offended and terrified and just insulted and just completely flabbergasted by what Hamas did on October 7th, you cannot look at the bodies that have piled up since and think that that is justifiable, think that that is a level of reciprocity that matches, and to think that it is not collective punishment. And furthermore, to dismiss the fact that this is genocide. Because now an entire people from an entire region and their entire city and all of their history and all their belongings, all of their narratives, all their oral traditions, all of their customs, all of their ways of celebrating each other and having dinner together and sharing their culture, the Palestinian culture, and sharing their experiences and their joys, even in the midst of occupation. This is one of the reasons I am the most furious at Hamas, because they managed to take something that was so horrible, which was the occupation, and they gave someone as evil as Benjamin Netanyahu every excuse he needed to turn a horrible occupation into something that is a fond memory compared to what they're dealing with now. That's the absurdity of this moment. As horrible as the occupation was and is for the south of Gaza, I'm quite certain that the parents that have had to bury their children in mass graves look back at the time when they could at least play with their children. That's where we are right now. And so as we get ready to head into this election season, I really want people to understand just how offensive it is to ask us to prioritize loyalty to a political party over what we see right in front of our eyes. And if you fancy yourself to be a political consultant or a political strategist, and you genuinely are concerned about 2024, as we should be because of the threat, you must logically, in good faith, follow through with the logic of how offensive and repulsive this is to normal human beings. And don't expect normal human beings to behave like politicos, political apparatchiks, who can turn off what they are seeing in Gaza and get right back to work on fighting against the Republicans. No, it's got to be both and at a minimum. The moral thing, though, is to focus our eyes on what's going on in Gaza until we can stop it and make sure it never happens again.